Hello everybody and welcome to the west coast of the USA, just inside of Los Angeles. The Long Beach Street Circuit plays host to another round of the iRacing Radical Esports Cup here for the first season of 2026. Unbelievably, we're at the halfway stage of the season after this round. 6 weeks complete already and another 6 to come after this. Myself, Ian O'Leary and Ron Mounds taking you through the action tonight from the only street circuit on this schedule, and that will be a relief to many here, Ron. It's going to be a big battle in qualifying and on the run down towards turn 1 on lap number 1, but after that it could get very tricky indeed.
Yeah, and we have seen this track play host to Radical Racing before here in these officials and in the Radical world as well. It's actually the season opener for the Radical European Championship back at the start of 2025. But here in 26, they still have the quite looming prospect of a pileup around this racetrack. We were kind of joking about it before we went live about having a big stack up and the race being decided by who can tow back to the pits first. But overall, really looking forward to seeing this race and looking forward to seeing who can survive here at Long Beach.
Well, that's what it's going to be about to some degree. James Barry has so far done the best in the overall iRacing standings, but it's remarkably close. The top 5 covered by only 58 points. 68 points, I should say. Heinz Braun, Christoph Lipp, Peter Eveny and Halle Gulliksen, the ones chasing him. Katil Larsen has got a bit of a gap back to the rest in those overall standings. And in our standings over these races, Christoph Lipp is still leading despite the fact he didn't score any points last week. He has won 2 races so far and been on the podium in 4 races rather. James Barry is in second place in front of Sebastian Lipp then, who's in third, and Heinz Braun, who won last week in our broadcasted race. Halle Gulliksen rounds out the top 5. Andre Castro didn't score any points last week, neither did Peter Eveny, Katil Larsen. The bottom 2 did though, George Gonzaga and Alfredo Malo into the top 10 with last week's results. There's the shot from the air. Overcast day in Los Angeles, California. 24 degrees Celsius on the racetrack at the moment. So a very impressive scan, by the way, I will say, of Long Beach. It was long thought before street circuits were added into iRacing that computer processing power and so on would make it impossible to do this kind of thing, but I'd say it's been done pretty well. Buildings surround this place all around, and the actual circuit itself is scanned very well as well. I must say it's not one of the circuits on paper, Ron, that actually looks like it would be very fun to drive, but actually I do enjoy driving around Long Beach, bizarrely. The difficulty obviously comes in the race when you actually get to passing people, but I do think it's an enjoyable street circuit, to be honest, when you compare it to some of the others.
Oh, it is absolutely fantastic. Historic as well. You think about Long Beach, you think, of course, about IndyCar and IMSA that still race here every single year. Started off as a Formula 5000 event, then became a part of the F1 calendar before IndyCar decided to take up its home here instead. This track, I absolutely adore it. It's really fun to drive around. It can put on some good racing if you give these racers enough opportunity to kind of take the gloves off, throw them at the ground, and start throwing bare-knuckle fists at their competitors. And some interesting history around this track as well. This is actually the most storied configuration of this circuit. It was originally implemented in the early 2000s. The old version that they had back in the 90s actually shortcutted a decent amount of what is now the aquarium section. Before the aquarium was even built, that was just a small little patch of undeveloped highway, if my memory serves me correctly. This was also part of iRacing's Tech Track program before it was actually made into a full scan some years ago. Now I can hope that my beloved, my hometown track, New Jersey Motorsports Park, about an hour and a half south of me in Millville, New Jersey, can get the same feature. I would be less surprised if I saw a unicorn riding Bigfoot.
On board with George Gonzaga here, who's just trying to get a little bit closer to Christoph Lipp, who currently leads this session. Still 1 or 2 drivers without times just yet. Tim Purty quite a long way up in the order at the moment, considering the number he's got on. The lower the number, the better you expect it to do, but Tim Purty with number 15 is up on the second row at the moment. George Gonzaga, meantime, gets towards the line, and this is a bit better from him. He will move up to the top 10, I think, with that time, or at least get close, if it counts. And it doesn't look like it does. That's another thing with qualifying around here. Even if it's a 0x, in which case you're not going to be in trouble in the race as far as getting those incident points and getting towards the disqualification is concerned, it does invalidate your lap time in qualifying, and the walls are very close around here for you to pick up a 0x.
And talking about the nature of this track and the series that run around it, it being an IndyCar and IMSA race, you're gonna see bits of the wall that kind of stick out a little bit. I think that's exactly what caught out Sebastian Lipp. He's gonna be starting this race down in P16. No time left for him to get another time on the board. That is going to be a huge storyline upcoming in this race. But now the barriers are by no means smooth. The problem is with F1 style street circuit, you take your Monacos, you take pretty much every track nowadays is a street circuit in F1, Baku, for instance. They are built to the nearest millimeter. In America, it will be a road working crew that's usually just taking time out of their day to fix potholes on I-5 around LA. They'll put up a concrete barrier and say, you know what, that's good. So it does give a unique quirk to the sense that the barriers are by no means uniform.
No, and that's the thing with street circuits that makes them all the more difficult, as mentioned, of which there are a lot more of these days. New content on iRacing now. You can drive around the Miami circuit that's used in Formula 1, and that is available for any car now. You can drive around there if you ever wondered what would happen. Another one of those street circuits, but there it is from the Long Beach. If you look out far enough, you can see the ocean, because we are, as the name Long Beach would suggest, we are right on the coast here at this venue. Up towards the race session we go then, and here is the starting order with Christoph Lipp on the pole and Havik Gullikson only 26 thousandths behind in qualifying. Tim Bertie, the sprite of the session, getting up to third in front of Peter Ivany, with James Barry and Katil Larsen, who are sharing row 3. Short circuit, so less than half a second back is Maurizio Scotta-Diuccio. Then it's Jason Munson alongside. Denis Kyriakopoulos may be disappointed with 9th here ahead of Pablo Cabrera. And not as disappointed, I wouldn't imagine, as Heinz Braun, who's outside the top 10. Adrian Rostang is in 12th. Riley Pogue is next ahead of George Gonzaga, ahead of Alexander Veremovic and Sebastian Lipp. Perhaps the disappointment of the session, he will be very disappointed with himself that he was 2 seconds off his brother, and he's starting right from the back of the field at the exact circuit you do not want to be starting from the very back of the field.
And you don't want to get off to a fantastic start either, because if you get a fantastic jump off the line with a long run downtown into turn number 1, you're going to find yourself in the midfield. And I would not want to be in the midfield heading through the fountain section on lap 1 in a field full of Radical SR10s. There are very few places in the world that I think I would want to be in less. So we'll have to see how exactly Sebastian Lipp can cut his way through the field. You mentioned how difficult overtaking may be. We'll just have to see how these racers are going to try and manage it. Certainly qualifying being vital. Let's see how much shenanigans we see these racers actually get up to in the race proper, though.
Christoph Lipp taking his time to get onto the grid here for this one as well from the front, but no surprises perhaps that he was able to take pole here. In fact, he's the last driver to get on the grid, and here we go. 19 laps tonight from Long Beach in another round of the Radical Esports Cup here this season. We're underway from Long Beach, and it's a decent start from Gullikson, who immediately is alongside Christoph Lipp in towards turn number 1. Tim Bertie challenged as well for third place with Peter Ivany just alongside, but Lipp on the inside line surely is going to retain the race lead here. Bertie will get third position as well, so no change there. Peter Ivany will slot in next, and in fact the top 6 all stay as they qualified through the fountain section for the first time.
Yeah, so everybody keeping it smooth, not running off into the flowers through the fountain right outside the aquarium here at Long Beach. I've actually heard a fun fact. If you drive off the racetrack and hit some of those flowers, the landscaping crew will not only bill you for the repairs, but somebody from the aquarium will actually slap you with some kind of fish. So I think these racers are going to try to avoid that at all costs. Everybody will want to avoid the barriers too. Everybody has been able to do that smooth thus far, but knowing like I just said it, and somebody's going to smack the fence soon.
So far they haven't through the first 2 sectors. It's been a very clean start over the course of these early stages. Peter Ivany getting restless already though, looking for a way down the inside of Tim Bertie. Look at the concertina effect there into the hairpin. Look at that. It's always the case, isn't it, as they come through the hairpin there at turn 11. It is such a slow corner, the slowest corner in all of motorsport, I think. I can't think of any slower. And the concertina effect that you get, especially on lap number 1, is absolutely massive. Here comes Gullikson into turn 1. Christoph Lipp forced to defend, and well, that's the first sign that, especially coming down the front straight, there's chances here for those to get past Christoph Lipp.
And we'll probably have to ask some of these racers once this race is said and done, when we get to have a chat with some, exactly how the gear stack is working up. Because I remember last year, the last time that we ran here at Long Beach, the drivers were a little bit upset about the gear stack, how you couldn't really get too much of a slipstream heading down the long straightaways, which we do have here at Long Beach. I think that may have been rectified, though, because Haford Gullikson got a mighty run heading down that start-finish straightaway into turn 1. And Christoph Lipp, I think, knows that the draft is strong, because look at him weaving like a madman down the backstretch.
He's weaving all over the place at the moment. Oh dear, the flowers are okay, but Adrian Mustang is not. That's too deep into the section there, and drops the lead right to the back of the field. That was Sebastian Lipp and George Gonzaga in the same livery there. Those teammates making their way through into 13th and 14th. On board with Kjetil Larsen, who was in 6th position in this race at the moment. He was 6th in qualifying. He's indeed 6th in the overall iRacing standings as well at the halfway stage of the Radical Esports Cup this season. So he knows how to be 6th place. Tim Bertie defends into turn 1 meantime, and Peter Eveney held back. Now the front two are going to start to get away as this battle for third really starts to sharpen up.
Yeah, and it is a huge stack up of racers behind Tim Bertie. You got Peter Eveney, James Berry, Kettle Larson, Jason Munson, just pretty much the rest of the field, with the exception of Alexander Veramich, who's actually come into the pits, I believe, maybe out of this race. I don't see him being scored anymore. Here's what happened to him heading downtown to turn number 1, and it's the tire barriers. Those tire barriers are incredibly hungry for your safety rating, hungry for your race car, and unfortunately for him, he's the first victim.
It is unfortunate because the first couple of laps we got away nicely. That is very close on the way towards the end of the back straight, and there's contact with the wall there for Dennis Kyriakopoulos in towards turn 9, and it was contact with Riley Pogue, who was really defending hard there. Jason Munson meantime gets past Kjetil Larsen as well, and there's a flash of the lights from Larsen. He's not pleased. There's all sorts to go back and have a look at there, but Kyriakopoulos has found the wall hard there, and Riley Pogue was involved. It's a very, very tight line on the inside line there. Kyriakopoulos finds the wall hard, and indeed Pogue goes for a spin as well. As I say, that was really quite a tight line on the inside.
Yeah, and as we've had more drama in live time, look at Heinz Braun involved in a moment. Sebastian Lipp, he got a piece of that front bearing broken off, and he's going to be out of this race. It really ended in qualifying. As soon as he had to start up at the back, it was going to be a climb up through the field, and unfortunately for Sebastian Lipp, in that climb he missed a rung, fell right back down to the ground, and he is going to be out in P15. May be able to rejoin the race, but I have a feeling that he's probably just going to call it a day and decide to head off into the next round of the championship. Pablo Cabrera, meanwhile, has also run into difficulties. I see him dropping down. He's towed back to pit lane as some overtaking may be going on. James Berry trying to go for the move all through turn number 9 through 10 right now. This is him and Peter Eveney duking that side by side. Eveney gonna have to back out of it. Right as I was gonna say that going for a move into turn number 9 was like trying to get a bunch of gold from sand at the beach. It was never going to fly, but James Berry proved that it is possible.
Yeah, and even he's going to get straight back past again. That's the problem. He got a really good run on the exit, and he actually took a bit of a risk getting very close to Jason Munson there, but even he gets that place back again as a result of that run. Munson gets pretty close to Barry as well, who very nearly found the wall coming off of turn 1. We'll find in the end. This is the incident for Heinz Braun, which eventually caught up Sebastian Lipp. Oh, Braun goes in too deep. Oh, and it's a concertina effect, as I think that's Pablo Cabrera piled in, and then so did Sebastian Lipp, who had nowhere to go.
And that right there is a classic Long Beach pileup. In goes one, then another, nothing that Sebastian Lipp could have done. Got a fantastic view to see a in-depth perspective of what a rear diffuser on a Radical SR10 looks like as that car popped up into the air right in front of him. But either way, a slice of that's going to take him out of the fight. Look at Barry once again fighting down the inside, and none of the touch.
Oh no, Carnage down there at turn 9. Rear wing off for Barry. Even he's got no rear wing or rear suspension. And the guys who gain are Kjetil Larsen and Joe, and indeed Jason Munson as well. They'll both be, oh no, Barry I don't think knows he's missing his rear wing. Peter even, he does know he's got bigger things to worry about. I see his rear suspension is damaged, which means he really can't control that car at the moment. Well, this has been attritional. After a good opening couple of laps, I was quite scared of what's going to happen to James Barry here in towards turn 1. Since he's got no rear wing, maybe he'll get away with it, but I'm not sure he will do. Seems that no, he doesn't indeed. He's found the wall. This is how it happened. Peter even, he was, I don't think doing anything unreasonable there. I think Barry got into him and broke too late. And to be fair, Munson also following them there in the black and white was also following them in, so it seemed all three of them really outbroke themselves.
Yeah, well, it's a comment that I said not too long ago about going for a move into turn number 9 being the equivalent of trying to pan for gold in a sandbag. That's pretty much what the deal is heading down in there. You can go for a move, but more often than not, it's going to end in tears for one simple fact. The track bottlenecks big time because there's one part of this racetrack that is not actually public roads. Now, a lot of the times with street circuits that get brought in to the racing world nowadays, a lot of it is purpose-built. Take the Madrid street circuit. That's going to be a part of F1 moving forward. Miami, that just got introduced onto iRacing. Lots of those racetracks are purpose-built. This, on the other hand, there is one part that isn't, and it's that small little run-up through 9 into the hairpin of turn number 11. That's in a parking lot. And because of the fact that that area is where a lot of spectators are, I mean, you see the grandstands built up there, and also where the paddock is, you can't really find a lot of room to work with racing-wise, so it does bottleneck quite a lot. And Barry going for that move. You know, James Barry is trying to contend for a championship this season. He's put on some mighty results up to this point, but I think he was seeing a bit too much red in that moment.
Yeah, he's not going to get to a championship, I don't think, driving like that in towards turn number 9 there. Yeah, that wasn't his best bit of driving, I don't think. Maybe he will argue that he was pushed by Munson. I think there was contact to the rear of him, to be fair, but even so. Larson and Diuccio are the ones who really gain out of it, though. 3 places each. They're now 4th and 5th. This is a great performance from Maurizio Scotti Diuccio. We see him occasionally in this series, but I don't recall ever in a top 5 position like what we're seeing here at the moment. Didn't score any top 10 finishes in the broadcasted races we did last season. He's challenging at the moment for 4th in towards turn number 1, and Larson feels it into the front. Look at the switch back to the inside. Diuccio fooling Catil Larson into turn 1. Now that is something you don't see every day in towards turn 1, and Maurizio Scotti Diuccio is into 4th position.
Yeah, and what a move, what a fight back for the driver with the number 13 on his car. That means he didn't have the highest I rating in this field by a significant margin, but hey, he's flexing his muscles, showing that I rating is just a number, jumping his way up in front of one of the series veterans here in the SR10 officials. Well done. That's how you get a move done here at Long Beach. So let's take a look at another angle of this, switching down to the inside into turn number 1, the heaviest braking zone on this racetrack by far. And even though it bottlenecks in a somewhat similar fashion to what happens at turn number 9, the turn that these racers are heading through right now, still a real good spot to get a move done. Less bumps in the braking zone too, which is another point, but either way, awesome stuff from those two. It takes 2 to tango, so we'll give some love to Catil Larson for allowing that move to be made clean.
Oh dear, look at this graveyard. Lots of body parts on the floor here, and cars that are looking pretty sorry for themselves. As Larson, meantime, challenges again in towards turn number 1. He's going to have a properly difficult time getting past Diuccio now. With turn 1 getting the run out to that corner is that the fountain section is next up, and it's really not the best place to go at an overtake. Only 10 left out of the pit lane here, Ron. It's been very, very attritional indeed, and well, a contrast to the first 2 laps, which were very, very clean.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Whenever we're like, okay, this is going to be a real attrition-packed race, everybody's going to be running into some trouble. There's going to be some falling anvils dropping down pretty much every single lap. Some driver's going to strike the moon. And that's usually how it goes. Lap 1, the opening section of the race, is completely tame, and then all pandemonium breaks loose. And that's what has happened here. With the attrition rate, though, with the amount of drivers either in the pits trying to repair their cars or just completely out of this race, it is a lot. Is it expected, though? Is it a surprise? These racers are fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I've gotten the opportunity to cover pretty much all of them for quite a few years now, but there's only so much you can do with a race at Long Beach. You could have the quickest hands in the world, but you're gonna find yourself getting injured if somebody puts a lit firecracker in your hand.
It's to answer your question, it isn't particularly unexpected, is it? Considering the venue, doesn't matter what standard of driver you take onto the course, it is always very, very tricky to get everybody to the end of a race at Long Beach. That is for sure. But, hopefully, in the meantime, we can have some good racing. The battling for fourth is probably going to be most interesting. Peter Evany seems to be occasionally leaving the pit lane to try and see if the damage is repaired enough for him to carry on. I mean, there is a decent opportunity for somebody here, and you can see still in the car there, Heinz Braun, still in his car, but if one of them can get repaired quicker than the others, then they could gain up to 5 places or so there, and that's decent for iRacing and the iRacing points overall as well, especially for those who are going for that title, like James Barry.
So, I'm actually going to ask a quick question before we switch off into talking about this battle up at the front, which is looking to intensify with only 3/4 of a second the gap between P1 and P2. If you're a driver that has a VR headset, would you be able to just step out of your sim rig and kind of like get out, walk a little over to the side, and just kind of stand around the outside of your car to see exactly how the damage is coming along? I only wore a VR headset a couple of times. First time I ever did was in a crowded Verizon store in the city of Philadelphia, and I fell on my butt. So I've never really been too fond on VR myself, but could somebody do that? I would love to see somebody try.
I'd never thought about that before. Maybe you can. I don't really know. I think somebody's going to have to tell us. Because,
see, it's thoughts like this that kept me out of the really good schools.
It's something I've never pondered, I must admit. Meantime, the battle for fourth continues. Tim Bertie has rather gotten away with third position now because of the fighting and the crash, the big crash that we saw for fourth position a little bit earlier on. That's a great result as well. I do always enjoy seeing those guys with the higher numbers getting into the top 10 or so. We've got lots of them in this session. Diuccio and Munson, Rostang, Pogue and Kirakopoulos as well, who's maybe a little bit harshly at number 11, considering we know he is actually a pretty strong Radicals driver. But those sort of more unusual names and more unknown names, it's great to see some of them running so. And of course, how can I forget Tim Bertie, who's running on the podium at the moment. That's a really great performance at the moment, really sort of set on the right path by qualifying, which we mentioned how important it would be. And Tim Bertie's showing that right now.
Yeah, so just proving that consistency matters. Some of the best racers in this series, you look at your Peter Evany's, James Barry's, Heinz Braun, Sebastian Lipp, all of them have won official races before. James Barry, he's a 4-time past Radical Official Series champion, for crying out loud, and he ran into trouble too. This track does not take any prisoners. It does not owe a race car driver anything, and you see it in real life, you see it in the sim, and we've most certainly seen it get put on full display here today. I think Sebastian Lipp may potentially be rejoining the race. It looks like he's maybe merging back out. Oh, here we go. It's actually a duo of cars. That's Sebastian Lipp with the very rare to find Radical SR10 air conditioning mod. No front bumper on that. Better ventilation, but I don't think that'll help him too much in a straight line. Up, he goes right off the track. I can understand why. And Heinz Braun carrying on with what looks like a rather clean race car.
Yep, he's gotten away with that. What is Sebastian Lipp doing here? He's gone down the escape road, staying out of everybody's way. Now he's trying to get out from that position. So the battle for points going on back there, 7 and 8 laps down among those who are going for the championship by the end of the season. But James Barry has just written this race off, says, I'm finished with this, and he's gone. So it's Pablo Cabrera and Alexander Vermevich, who is also out. Look at that car there. Doesn't actually seem to be handling too badly, but it looks terrible there for Sebastian Lipp, who of course was involved in those incidents a little bit earlier on. That pile up at turn 1 started by Heinz Braun, actually, who's just re-overtaken him for 13th position.
Yeah, I was gonna say something odd in reference to seeing a Radical SR10 without its front bumper. It's like looking at somebody who usually wears glasses, not actually wearing the pair of glasses they usually have on their face. It looks a little bit off, and the performance is slightly affected. I say this as somebody who's had to wear glasses every single day of his life since he was about 8 years old. So I've had people not even be able to recognize me if I don't have my glasses on. But and not ideal if you're Sebastian Lip, not an ideal split at all. He's I gotta say, in reference to the two Lip brothers, when he shines, he really does shine, but compared to his brother Christoph currently leading this race, he is a bit on the inconsistent end.
We had some word through in YouTube chat on things that we needed clarification on from people who are more intelligent than us. Evan says that you can't step out of the car in iRacing and look around at the damage. Good, I would say. The FOV too small for that, so there you go, that's that answer, question answered. And Brandon says that Tim Bertie is a 7k I rating in the Formula category, but doesn't do sports car racing, and therefore is number 15 as a result of that, so maybe underplaying his abilities. Nevertheless, I still think that the point stands, because we saw him once last season get into the top 10, and that was a 9th place finish, but you know, he's competed. But my point is, not saying he's a terrible driver by any means, my point is we've got a lot of other strong drivers in this field who he was beating, even at the time of their crash, for Kyriakopoulos and James Barry and Peter Eveny, Heinz Braun, Sebastian Lip. He was ahead of all of them even before their accident. He's still ahead of Kittil Larson now, and he's a couple of seconds legitimately in front of him as well. So this is even despite all that, it's a really strong performance. It looks like a run to the podium for Tim Bertie here tonight.
Yeah, and this Radical SR10 is really tricky. You know, our RaceBot TV colleague, Mr. J.R. Gregory, who's gone to cover these races for many, many moons himself, and has also gotten the opportunity to race these cars quite extensively, too, in the sim. He always says that the mastery of this car will make you better in just about every single thing that you drive. But there's really nothing like the SR10. There's small little portions of just about everything that can make the SR10 whole. If there's one comparison I can give, it's an LMP3, but Tim Bertie with a low sports car rating, a lower sports car rating, I should say. You know, this is the top split broadcast that we cover here, and the field did split twice. So whenever we talk about the low I rating drivers here, we're not saying that they have low I rating, period, because the SOF in this field is about 4,900, which is just absurd. But I think the point remains, regardless, that for him to run it this quick in this car, we have seen him a couple of times in the past here in these SR10s, but to hop in, not really running these cars too often, and just hit the ground running and finish third at a racetrack as challenging as this, it is still a very impressive result either way.
Yep, it absolutely is. Meantime, 3 laps to go at the front of the field. Christoph Lip leads by now nearly 3 seconds in front of Havok Gullikson, 2.5 seconds really. And I'm not sure what it is about the new year, or indeed at the end of last year actually, when we started this iRacing season, but Christoph Lip just seems to be in some fantastic form at the moment. Sebring winner in the opening week, New Mexico racetrack, and 2 weeks ago he was winner at, and he was on the podium at Oulton Park in Catalonia as well. So not sure what Christoph Lip has done, as I say, but he's found himself in some excellent form in these recent weeks, and you might be wondering, well, he's been like this for a long time. Well, not necessarily in the races that we've done. He only appeared at 3 of them, I think, or only appeared in the top 10 at 3 of them last season. Only won 1 at Monza. He's already doubled that tally in the first 4 weeks here of this season. It looks like he's going to triple it within the first half of the season.
Yeah, this has been a intriguing race from the field full of drivers that we don't see too often, or some racers that I'm seeing either for the first time in quite some time, or the first time ever in the case of Jason Munson and Riley Pogue. But it has been an intriguing race up to this point. Some of the best drivers in this series losing their heads a bit. Some other drivers running into their own source of difficulties, and everybody tackling a racetrack that is truly one of a kind. It's not the only street circuit in America, obviously. It's not the only street circuit in California. It's not the only street circuit in the Los Angeles area, for that matter, but it's the one that has stick the most. It's one of the most tenured circuits in the entire world, for that matter, most certainly in the realm of street racing. I think the only ones that have lasted longer are the likes of your Monaco Grand Prix, Pau there in France. I think Macau may have been first run around about the same time that Long Beach was, although I will have to check myself out on that to see whether or not that is true, or whether or not I'm spewing some bovine feces here on this broadcast. But the point remains that this has been a race truly like no other here in this SR10, as most certainly in this season, which has been quite the whirlwind, from fantastic finishes and amazing moments to a little bit of controversy from time to time, and some rather funny moments sprinkled in as well.
Kjetil Larsen, who's probably not finding this very funny at the moment, getting himself stuck in behind Mauricio Scotti-Diuccio in 4th place. For whatever reason, Larsen seemed, well, not easy to overtake, but Diuccio didn't seem to find it too difficult. Have a look at Larsen's helmet, by the way. Nice stuff. Larsen cannot return the favour at the moment, and I'm not entirely sure what we can put this down to. The white flag is about to wave. He's about to have one more chance down at turn number 1, and I think this is his best chance in towards turn number 1. But again, there's the exit. He's just not getting that exit onto the front straights here that is good enough. You see him down the inside by the time they actually get into the braking zone of turn number 1 here. Look at him, car lengths back. Diuccio survives to turn 1 again, and surely he's going to finish this race in 4th.
Yeah, certainly looking like it. With time running out, I think Kjetil Larsen only has about 1 or 2 more opportunities left to try and pounce. I think it would probably be turn number 6, where Christoph Lipp is heading off through right now, or maybe turn 9. Outside of that, though, I think it's looking good for Diuccio to try and hold on to that P4 spot. Most certainly looking good for Christoph Lipp to try and get another win here in this season, as he tries to maybe contend for that championship with his own inert teammate of James Barry.
Absolutely. He's not up there in the overall iRacing standings just yet in terms of leading, but maybe he will be in 6 weeks' time. Christoph Lipp comes out the final corner to win here at Long Beach in the Radical Esports Cup. It's his 3rd victory in these broadcasted races here this season already, and this one is by over 4 seconds in front of Havik Gulliksen. He did qualify well to get up towards the front, did Lipp, but it's the pace he's shown afterwards. This is a legitimate gap he's put into the likes of Havik Gulliksen there of 4.5 seconds over the course of just a 19-lap race.
Yeah, a massive margin to pull on a track where you've got to be on your A game from the drop of the green through to the fall of the checkered. Everybody who's going to see the checkered flag most certainly earned it, even if they had some scrapes along the way. What a way to bring out the end of this first half of the season. It's been a quite fascinating way to start off the year of 2026 here on iRacing.
Yeah, it certainly has. It's been all Christoph Lipp, really. He wins by 4.5 seconds tonight in front of Havik Gulliksen, with Tim Bertie on the podium. Mauricio Scotti-Diuccio gets up into 4th place. A great pass on Kjetil Larsen effectively got in that position in one go. Jason Munson finishes 6th in front of George Gonzaga, with Riley Pogue, Adrian Rustang and Dennis Kyriakopoulos rounding out the top 10. Some big names retired tonight. Peter Ivany, Heinz Brunn, Sebastian Lipp, James Barry were 4 of them. Pablo Cabrera and Alexander Verimovic, who we don't see every week, retired as well, 14 and 16 laps down respectively. Let's have a chat to tonight's winner, shall we? Christoph Lipp, who joins us now. Christoph, congratulations on a race victory tonight. Just what was the key to this race? Was it qualifying, the start, your speed, or a combination of all of them?
Yeah, everything. You have to be in front in the qualifying, P1, P2. Because you cannot make it really through the field with all of these fast guys, and then you have seen it. I had to defend really strong the first 2 laps against Harvard to keep the track position, and then it's just to repeat everything every lap to be consistently fast. And yeah, he made me sweat a lot, honestly. It was really hard. He kept fighting for half of the race, and I was happy to see then the gap opening, and I could also reduce a little bit later on.
Yeah, it was a big gap by the end, but as you say, there was a challenge early on. But as you say, you're able to take the race victory, your third one that we've broadcasted already in the 2026 Season 1 season. So what has it been about this season that you've been able to win a few more races? Because firstly, we've seen you a bit more often, but also you've taken more victories this season. Would you put that down to anything in particular?
Yeah, as you said, I try to drive every race. The last one I missed due to the 24-hour race, but I try to race every race, and I really focus on this championship this season. The seasons before, I just I also, when I race, I always try to win and give my best, but I didn't really focus on the championship. But this season I want to participate and I want to compete, and yeah, at the moment I'm in a good position.
Congratulations on your third broadcasted win of the season here tonight, Christoph, and thanks for chatting to us at the end as well.
Yeah, thanks. Cheers.
Thanks so much. That's Christoph Lipp, who joins us there from Victory Lane, as it were. Havik Gullikson also in the podium tonight, second place. Havik, welcome in. Congratulations on a second place finish. As Christoph was telling us there, it was sort of close between the two of you at the start of the race, but not necessarily so much towards the end. How did that race go from your perspective?
Yeah, it was a nice race until lap 10 when I hit the wall. And I'm not sure if I gained any damage, but I lost the concentration after that, and I was more concerned about keeping the second place than trying to take the first place. So yeah, Christoph Lipp was really fast and deserved to win. So I'm happy with P2.
And it's your second broadcasted podium of the season as well. How have you seen this season going so far, with Christoph appearing a little bit more often on Fridays, and some names we saw last season not here quite so much? How have you sort of seen how the season's gone so far?
For myself, not very good. The end of last season and the beginning of this season has not been good at all, but now I'm trying and make myself more consistent, trying to don't do mistakes myself and trying to avoid other crazy stunts from other guys. But it's tight and close and nice fighting most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for chatting to us, Havik, and congrats on second place tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks very much. That's Havik Gullikson, who rounds off the interviews. At least second position for him on the racetrack tonight. Rudskogen is our venue in 1 week's time. Ron, there'll be 18 laps around there. Very, very different venue, but lots of unknowns heading into next week's race, which starts the second half of the season.
Yeah, I know I said this a lot in reference to Long Beach here today, but there's really nothing like Rudskogen either. A track that I did not know about before it was brought out onto iRacing. It can bring out some pretty good racing too. We've seen it in the past in these Radical SR10s. So these racers will not be unfamiliar with Rudskogen's game, but looking forward to seeing what kind of racing we have there. Certainly the run up into that turn. That's turn number 3 of that track. Gonna be massive with the draft. So looking forward to seeing a bit more slipstream come time for that race in just 1 week's time.
Absolutely. 7 days, we'll be live same time, same place from 2100 GMT, so make sure you join us for that. So far though, it is Christoph Lipp's night once again here in the Radical Esports Cup tonight. By the way, he's only dropped 39 points in our point system here for this season, and one of those is a 0 score at Daytona. That just gives you an idea of how he's been when he has been here, and he wins once again here from Long Beach in a chaotic race. Big thanks to everyone who's joined us tonight. Thanks of course to Romero Augustin-Cisneros behind the cameras, to Ron Mounds alongside myself, Ewan O'Leary on commentary here tonight. We'll all be back in 7 days with the next round of this championship from Rudskogen. Hope you'll join us then, but for now, from Long Beach, it's goodbye.